Welcome to this derelict area of land in Nottingham. There's a building been pulled down here over the last few years. It's been cleared, but there's not been much done with it since. Part of it was a car park and it's still used as such. But I'm here to have a look at the plants which have invaded this seemingly dead and derelict land. And there are quite a few interesting things growing here. When I walked in this morning, plants that I wasn't expecting to see, including an American invader, which I will tell you about in a minute. But the first one that I want to tell you about is not an angiosperm, it's a bryophyte. And it's called Funaria hygrometrica, and you can tell it easily because of very wiry stems of the seta and the bulbous capsule on the sporophyte. Yeah, this is definitely Funaria hygrometrica, and there are other mosses here too, but they're a bit trickier to identify. But what I wanted to show you also was this plant here, which is the American invader called Fiddleneck, I think it is, or yellow Amsinckia. And there are a number of plants here on this site, which I will show you in a second. But yeah, here's a plant that's definitely invading Britain. I don't know whether I think it is in the textbooks now, but it's nice to see it here. It's a beautiful plant, very hairy, as you can see, very hirsute stem, which tends to make it resistant to drying out. So this is a nice one. Let's see, what have we got growing here? This is, I think, an Artemisia. Very, very strongly centered plant. Probably wormwood. Again, another not native plant, but it's very nice to have here. And if it's left here for a while, it will continue to invade the site. More fiddleneck here, a close-up of the flower, and you can see the spiny edges of the leaves, which is common to all members of the Boraginaceae, the borage family. They all have fairly, not say spiny leaves, but certainly hairy, and this one probably classifies as a hairy one. Looking around to see what I can see, and there's some willow herbs here. This one is definitely a square-stemmed willow herb, and you can tell that from the shape of the leaves here, and the development of the rosette in spring, which separates it from American willow herbs. Square-stemmed willow herbs is quite common on the derelict sites like this. And here we've got one of my favourite members of the chickweed family, and this is Cerastium tomentosum, or sticky mousea. And there's quite a few plants of it here. You can see the hairs on the leaves, and the buds are forming in umbels at the top of the stem. It's a bit early for it to be in flower yet, but it's obviously under stress because of the red stems, and most of the plants here are going to be growing under stress because the ground is certainly not very fertile here. But the plants that have chosen to grow here prefer that kind of environment. And of course we've got Buddleias growing here too. They're very common around this area of Nottingham, and they'll be in flower soon, no doubt. Many plants of this, seedlings and more mature plants. These are probably Sumatra fleabane, Conyza sumatrensis. There are lots of them here as well. You can tell them because their leaves are fairly hirsute, and the plants grow really tall with lots of daisy-like flower heads really at any time of year. And there really are a tremendous number of these fiddleneck plants growing on this site. It's one of the most abundant plants here now. So it really seems to be taking a foothold in this area of Nottingham. And let's look at the hairs on the inflorescence and on the leaves subtending the inflorescence. Quite a remarkable plant close up. Very nice to see it here. And finally, I just wanted to show you this plant growing very uncharacteristically in this environment. I've got a couple of plants of this growing in my garden at home. They look nothing like this. And this just gives you an example of phenotypic plasticity. And this plant is Herb Robert, Geranium robertianum. And it's very common everywhere, but it's obviously struggling here. Simply, and it's growing on more or less pure gravel, so it's very short of nutrients. It's red, it's stressed, so we'll have to see how it develops here. But if you take in the magnification, you can see the leaves are definitely indicative of Herb Robert here, Geranium robertianum. And again, it's got hairy hairy stems, which help it stopping losing water. Anyway, that's enough of this video. I think I've covered most of the kinds of plants that are growing here, and I just wanted to thank you for looking in. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. Many thanks.